Hello and welcome to what was the Arsenal Bite-Sized podcast and is now the weekly canon because we were never bite-sized anyway. I'm your host Clayton, and to review what was very nearly drop points, but more importantly wasn't, in 3 points against Wolves with me is Uncle Mike. How are we feeling?
A lot better now, but yeah, that was dog shit. Let's just go. Let's get straight into
No
it.
foreplay, straight in.
No, mate. Let's go in dry. No lube.
Yeah, all right, let's do it.
That was
Yeah,
dog
I've
shit,
got a
mate.
lot I want to get off my chest
That
as
was
well.
dog
So,
shit. But no,
we-
it's. I think it's. They're always. I mean, I think when you lose, sorry, when you win, and there is still lots to talk about, is always better than a sort of a 3-0. Not much to talk about, comfortable win. But
I feel bad,
it's
by the way. There was a
like,
period where the pods were just kind of routine, yep, win. And do you remember? I
yeah,
was like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah,
that's a
yeah,
bit boring, isn't it?
yeah. So
Fucking hell.
it is nice to get into a little bit of meat on the bone as such. But you was at the game. I bet they were sort of contrasting emotions from the first half to the end of the game. So do you want to go
Yeah.
through it?
Well, first half, I couldn't believe what I was watching. I want to talk lineup.
Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah.
We spoke before we hit go live, and you and I don't really speak about the games anymore until we do this, right? And I saw your tweet about the lineup, and I was like, yeah, I want to have that discussion as well. 'Cause 2 games in a row, I think the manager's got the lineup wrong. League game, sorry. So not
Yeah.
Bruges. And I can summarize it as simple as this. I feel like people misunderstood what I was saying about Odegaard the other week, by the way. But like Aston Villa away was a game for a Martinelli, a Gyökeres, a Madueke, an Eze central. Wolves at home is an Odegaard game. Wolves at home is not a Martinelli game. I'm saying this without the context of knowing what people are capable of, but even little things like Madueke midweek, fucking hell, unbelievable. Doesn't get a minute against these, and I don't know. We obviously couldn't do the preview, but I obviously prepared. We were planning on doing it, right? And it was quite last minute where we had to stop it. So I prepared all the slides and everything, and I was working through my predicted lineup and stuff, and I was thinking, yeah, prior to the game, this in my head was in terms of options, a Rice, Eze, Odegaard midfield, a Zubamendi, Rice, Odegaard midfield with Eze left. If you go with Rice, Eze, Odegaard midfield, Madueke left, not one of those permutations had a Martinelli in there for me. I understood Gyökeres, but I just think Madueke as well. You see what he did midweek, and fair enough, you have to play Saka, and we saw why. But like Madueke left wing would have done better than Martinelli did in this game, in my opinion. And I think we've got this squad that has different faces, different horses for courses, and I just feel like he's got it wrong in the last two. I can't shake that feeling, and you know me, I fucking love the man, and I even little things like I believe the Ben White injury is the manager's fault. Like, why the fuck was Miles Lewis Skelly not starting this game with? Mate, I'm really angry. Like I know we won, but the lineup pissed me off. It really did.
Yeah, I feel the same, mate. I was going to say exactly the same. That he got the for me he got the two lineups the wrong way round, and you just went through it very well then, and that was exactly my thoughts. Is that you needed a certain type of player in one game, and you done the reverse, and then you needed another type of player in this game, and you've almost you okay. I believe in well very quickly it seems as though he's getting it. Is he getting it wrong a lot, or is he trying things and then rectify? I think the thing that he is learning is that you're rectifying it quite quickly at half time. So you are making some big calls at half time. But one thing that I think Arteta always stands on is one of his foundations is he always sort of puts players in positions and around them that makes them comfortable and makes them play to their strengths. And I know we'll get onto it, and I really don't think he's doing that with our number 9. Or
Yeah, now go
with
on. Let's
Gyökeres.
go there. Well,
Because I mean, let's. I mean, he was shocking, right? really, really bad, and that there's a disconnection with the team. I saw pass maps of completed players. He made 3 passes,
In the
six
whole
in the whole game, 3 passes, and not one of them was forward. Okay, and they were one of them was back into our own half, and the other 2 were just horizontal midway in our half. So there's no build-up play. There's no running behind the strength that we thought we were buying. But caveat that with, I don't think we're looking for his runs, and I don't think we're playing to his strength. We've become so used to playing with a Jesus who looked a lot more like an Arsenal striker when he came on, but we know he's not clinical enough. So you're sort of it's amazing to see that Jesus has done more sort of in 2 games and got more of a buzz and more of a vibe, and certainly a connection with the fans. But is that because he knows the players know him? He was never a player that was making 15 runs a game. It was like the players wouldn't have to learn. They just almost accepted, right, get the ball to Jesus. He's going to do his little thing. He's going to pop it off. Martinelli looked better. So yeah, I am disappointed with Gyökeres, and I don't know. But you look at there again and go back to these pass maps. There was Zubamendi, not one pass into the box on Zubamendi. And then you have obviously Rice. There was a couple, but a couple of set pieces. Martinelli was ineffective on the left-hand side. Eze was closer to Saka on the right-hand side. His passes were just going to Saka. There was not one through ball to Gyökeres. So he's feeding on scraps, the lad. So I am giving a little bit of that, but it's just the fact that when you had that Saka chance, he just seemed to be on his heels a little bit, almost half a yard off the pace. So yeah, it's disappointing. I was expecting a lot more, but ultimately he's a £55 million player, and he's one of 3 strikers, number 9s that we've got. That all 4 if you include Marino, that all have different profiles. So
I'm so conflicted on him. I'll just say straight what is in my brain, because there's a side of me that is more patient and empathetic, and there's a side of me that's like, "Oof." The side of me that is patient and empathetic is kind of what you just said there, a lot of those factors. And I saw elements of his game against Newcastle, against Burnley, that I really fucking liked. That I'm wondering, okay, how much of this is just coming back from an injury? Like, yeah, but there is a part of me that's just so simplistic. Like, this guy just doesn't look like an Arsenal Football Club centre forward. He's not technically good enough. Just forgetting all the analysis of the runs he makes in behind, the ball fucking bounces off him all. His hold up play is embarrassing. And Jesus, in his pomp, it was what, 5'8", 5'9". He'd pluck a ball out. I think he did it against Bruges midweek, one of his first actions, and he's little. And I'm really conflicted. I don't want to put myself in any camp just yet, because I do think there will be games that he will add value to us. There will be games where he comes good, but I was hoping for a lot more than what I've seen so far, and I don't want to over-index on one performance against Newcastle and one half against Burnley prior to injury, because for those 120 minutes, there's been another double than that's concerned me. So
my mate called it Dom. He called him a cart horse, and at the moment, I think he's more cart horse than Cartier, and that's what we wanted, a Cartier sort of player. We wanted top notch, cream of the crop. That focus at the top that was the best number 9 in the world, and
I don't think any of us thought that was him. To be
no,
honest.
I don't think that was him, but I think that's what we need. That's what
Sure.
we needed, and I get on paper, I get the profile of him, but I just, whatever reason it's. But then I did see something in our last 5 games. We've had 5 different starting up the 3 up top. So we've had 5 different 3 up top, 5 different 3 in midfield, and 5 different back fours. So we talk about connections and combinations. It will still come. I am still clinging on with faith. It will come, but it just seems that for whatever reason, you sort of would. And that's why I said about in my tweet, the imbalance. I just think there is an imbalance in this side at the moment. And whether that's due to overplaying of players, which we can talk about the Ben White situation, that was just stupidity in my eyes. We all knew.
Just before we do, like Charles is in the chat kind of adding to what you said on Gyökeres. He's saying there's 2 problems though. One is shot volume and the other is defender separation. And he says, yeah, granted he can work on the latter, but the former is not his problem at all. And he won't be successful due to the system, not because he can't. And I agree to an extent on that. Like, I don't know. Like, he has made runs that just don't get found. And I think this is where I'm confused. I haven't quite figured it out myself what's going on. Like, I do think there's an element of like some of his technical qualities are subpar to the group. Like, if you had to plot him on a map, I don't think he's in the top % of our technical players. Yeah, and then something else Charles is saying is I can definitely say that Arteta and not one of his coaching staff are primed enough by skill to work with the centre forward. They are just focusing on out of possession structure. I disagree on that, just because like we've seen when Havertz came into the team as a centre forward, he did really well for us. Jesus in that season prior to the World Cup was unbelievable. Marino, we've seen what he can do up there. So I disagree on that slightly, but I have big concerns about Gyökeres, man. And like to the point where Bruges midweek, I even said to my mates in the pub, I was like, I would genuinely start Jesus against Wolves based on what I've seen. It just gives a level of technical security. He's busy. I don't know. He just adds more. I think Wolves at home is a game when we got Gyökeres. I anticipated it would be, okay, he's going to be one of these low touch guys, but he'll get the chances and he'll score goals. And if he's not doing that, I'm really concerned. I think there will be games where he can add value and stuff. But again, it's Villa away is one that I think would have suited him quite nicely, unfortunately. And it's like if you put someone in the right environment at the right moments and they score, if he gets that goal at Chelsea, like I don't know, there's all these sliding doors moments, but I feel like the door's closing. Sadly, but I don't know. It's still very early in the season. There's a lot of football, like you say. He's 1 in 3, sometimes 4 that could deputize. So my biggest thing is just play to his strengths if we can. Try get him the chances to score goals. I did really like there was one bit of play in the second half. Was it Trossard crossed it in and he did control it, get a shot off on his left foot? I know it didn't go in, but I was like, that was quite impressive. But how much of that is me scraping the barrel? I don't know. But I'm very concerned.
Yeah, agree, mate.
Ben White, sorry, I feel like I cut you off on that. What were you
going to say? So it's the. I mean, we all knew Ben White was a minute's risk. What did we? And he was going into the so-called red zone. Surely to come back that quickly, to come back after that long and play 4 consecutive 90s. I think Odegaard came back and he'd done something similar, but then was out for about 3-4 weeks, or he didn't. He was off form for about 3-4 weeks when he did it. So it just seems unavoidable. It could have been unavoidable. You could have played Timber there, you could have gone Saliba, then you play Hincapié, and then you play Miles. And the fact that you chose not to.
What do you think that's about with Miles?
I don't know.
I can't.
I mean, when he came on, he looks okay. Really, he changed
that Atletico Madrid game was not that long ago.
No. And he came on and he changed the game for me. He had a little bit more impetus. And the left started looking a little bit more promising and a bit more lively. But yeah, it just, and now, so he's out, have you seen he's out for the minimum of 4 weeks, Ben White now?
Is that confirmed?
Yeah, that's confirmed on Charles Watts. So you've got minimum of 4 weeks,
Yeah, it's. I think that's the thing. So I think my thing is with Arteta, I feel like I can usually understand the logic behind a lot of his stuff, even amongst the chaos when people are losing their heads and stuff. Not to say I'm right or anything, just the way my brain is I can usually see what I think the logic behind some things are. There's a couple things recently that are blowing my mind, and I can't quite understand it. And like the Miles thing is one of them. Like this was a game for him. Was this the game that we needed to shift Nkapie to the left? Like, and I don't even fully buy that it was because of the centre back availability because Saliba obviously came in, so
I
it
mean,
could
there
have
was,
literally been, and Timber started anyway. So like, I don't get it.
and there was, you could even add an argument. I mean, I was sort of half debating whether Noni should have started from the right anyway. I
Instead
mean,
of
I'm
Saka.
glad instead of Saka, just because of, I mean, look, I'm glad it didn't work out that way because Saka is effectively carrying this team again at the moment, and he was superb. So, but I was sort of more along the lines of, look, you. It didn't turn out that way, but you kind of got you're going from uh, you're a team that have done a very patched up team that started against Bruges and they done okay. You know, Norgard was decent. He needs the minutes. You got Ethan got some minutes. Um, and I was almost along the line, and Noni was superb. So why not give those guys a chance and do it the other way? So you can do that 60-30 thing. So you could have started with those guys. You're protecting Saka's legs. Whether you could have played Saka Noni on the left, just playing one he's hot and not to get any minutes. I don't know. I think Arteta struggles when he's got too many options. We
Oh,
know he's gone back to he's had his regular 12 or 13, his trusted players. He grinds them into the ground. You can predict every week there'll be one or two changes, which is normally a fullback. And now he's got all of these options, all coming back fit or on their way back, and suddenly we're in balance. Let's see.
and
And
this
look,
is where
and
I'm concerned because earlier in the season he was well before the injury shit show started. He was making changes game to game that I did like. Like there was one game where Eze played off the left. I think it was Forest, and I thought he did really well. There was a game where Madueke played off the left, Leeds, and I liked it. But the last couple games, I don't get it, and I don't because I was kind of on the same page as you. I was like, is this what the issue is? Like when the pool is so big, he almost doesn't know what's right. But I'm not sure I fully believe it. But the evidence of the last two games would suggest that. Because like, if you had to put your logical hat or just be in Arteta's brain, what do you think the logic was for Martinelli left wing in this game? Because I can't get it at all.
the only thing I can think of was Trossard minutes, not enough minutes. But you've got Noni there, as you say.
And
You could have started Noni. Um,
And
but
even I'm not as dead and buried on the Eze on the left thing as everyone else.
no,
There are games
no,
that
not
I
yeah.
don't mind it. Wolves at home is one where I think that works nicely.
Wolves at home with Marino up top is a game with Odegaard possibly on next to and a Trossard. I don't know. It's strange that he seems. But then I have seen we are using subs. We are the we're using five subs normally, five subs every game. We're doing them very very early, or one of the earliest teams to use subs. Like we're doing them half time. We're doing a lot of them. Some of them being injury forced, agreed, but it seems to me that at the moment he's in a bit of a mind fog of I have all of these options and I don't quite know, and maybe it's because I'm trying to give the benefit of the doubt, but this is the first week we'll have off since the end of August.
Yeah.
So I'm just hoping that he can get him on the pitch, on the training pitch, get Gabriel Heinzer doing his thing, working with the defenders, and just sort of say, look, guys, that was not good enough on Saturday, and I think they know that because you could see the reaction of Rice, for example, after the game
He
was
was
he was
fuming.
seriously fucked off. That's fogging standards, mate. Fogging standards. They were not good enough, and that was the angriest you'll see Arteta after the game without throwing his players under the bus. And it's good that we've got this week off because they will be driven this week. We got away with that, and
Big time.
you can say, look, it's the sign of champions, and yes, that's a narrative and that's a cliche. But I just think it was the mentality to take that from the draw because that last year that's a draw. We
Yeah,
would have
probably.
we would have drawn that game. We would have felt sorry for ourselves and gone right. We saw plenty of games like that last year where we got a sucker punch. That happened, and then suddenly we felt a bit sorry for us. And to go on with 5 minutes to go, knowing so that's what I did like about that. That it was an off day. There were plenty of off days. The Invincibles, we drew to Portsmouth and Birmingham twice, both. Right, so there are plenty. We drew 12 games. That's
Yeah.
14 games. So there was a lot of 12 games. There was a lot of bad games, bad results. So I'm putting it down to that. That it was just a turgid dog shit game that was one game too far for a lot of players, like Ben White. The pressing was totally off. You could see that we were all over the gaff, man. And
The way they passed through us,
yeah, I
though,
know
like what you said about the
that was concerning.
the way you say about Heinz are getting into him, like the structures and the distances were fucking atrocious. Like it was
It was
painful to
basics,
watch. It was basic.
basics.
Yeah,
It-
like, I like
and
what
I
Arteta
bet it
said
was,
about the defensive habits and stuff. Yeah,
and I bet it was even worse or more noticeable in the ground because you see, especially from your seat, you're seeing wide open spaces. And look, I would like to give Wolves some credit because they didn't play like they did against Manchester United.
I didn't actually watch that game.
I didn't watch it, to be fair, but apparently they were bent over and they were so wide open, and that's because they don't respect Manchester United. They were going for it, and United picked them apart. But Rob Edwards is a decent manager. He's worked in on them for a week. They done. I've got no complaints about how their attitude towards the game. They come to us and they're going to dig in, and they every minute they went by they got more emboldened. So fair play to them. They nearly pulled it off, but it was just for me. It was the mentality to say no, whatever happens, we are not going out. We are not leaving this stadium without 3 points, and to claw it back. That's huge because by next Saturday night we will be behind Manchester City,
Assuming they win.
If West Ham. So that and that's why I just think as a fan base we need to hold on tight because what we said I think last week was when you lose to Villa, it's about your next two games and it's about not drawing or dropping points, and we pulled out a really good result, a really good result in Bruges, and to then because you can already see the narrative. I mean, I was in group chats.
Are you like tapping something or something there?
Sorry, I was in group chats and people were already sending bottle emojis.
Yeah,
as soon as so they're all the hate watchers. They're all out there. So as soon as you,
is your dog there?
He's here. Yeah.
Is he scratching something like your phone or something? Oh, I can hear it. Yeah, when you went on mute, it helped there. So I don't know if something is impacting the mic or anything. But no, go carry on.
Yeah, so it was just so good to get that win because that and the equaliser against City could end up to be huge.
Yeah, do you know what? The more we speak through this, the more angry I am about the lineup, and I think I've clocked why. Like, I can accept how dead on these feet these guys are. I can I can understand where complacency may have come in, the lineup thing is the biggest thing for me, because I do think, despite that, the lineup you choose dictates the type of areas you play in, which dictates the likelihood of said actions and stuff. And I can't shake this feeling if we have two scenarios. One is Declan Rice at the base, Eze left eight, Odegaard right eight. I think Madueke on the left. What do you have then? You have a fucking monster shielding the back four who just sweeps up, and for that one game, you don't need him going in driving in Declan Rice. You have Eze, who is more comfortable off the left anyway. You have Odegaard, who in certain games we need the volume of touches, the suffocation to keep a team in the final third. You've got Saka on the right doing his thing, and you've got Madueke and a player who, sure, end product is inconsistent, but is relentless and unapologetic about standing up a man and taking them on. And I just think if you have that, you are constantly pinning them in and they are unable to play. The other alternative is Eze off the left, which I know a lot of people have given up on. But I think in games like this, I like an Odegaard with the high volume of touches in the final third, popping it around, suffocating them, supplementing him with an Eze, whether that's left eight or left wing, whatever. Eze left wing isn't always going to hug the touchline. He'll come in. And I just think having those players enables you to play consistently in the middle to final third. And I just felt like with the selection of Declan Rice, Zubimendi, and Eze, it didn't give us the sustained territory we needed against a team like this. Same with Martinelli on the left. He's not someone he's there as an outlet, as and when we're going to get the ball to him. And that's not to say he's Rice or Zubimendi or Eze's an issue. It's just the structural makeup of that midfield didn't give us what we needed for this game against this opposition, because we all knew they were going to. Fair enough, they bent over against Man United. We've seen this script at the Emirates. Teams come and do one thing, and understandably so. They park it. That is when you need Odegaard. It's not a fucking Aston Villa away. So the more I'm talking through it, the more fucking fuming I am, because like to me, it's so obvious. And I think if you play one of those two lineups, I think we do win this game 3-4-0 in gear two. We said this. What game was it? There was a game where we didn't get out of gear two and we put them away. And I think if you get the lineup right, we have that discussion. I think the lineup was disgusting and so wrong and caused the knock-on issues of we don't get the first goal, the pressure builds, all of that. And then like all of the structural issues happen. I think if we play one of those other lineups I mentioned, we get an early goal, all of these issues fade away. Like I can't say that. I think this is the most disappointed I've ever been in Arteta. Like,
wow, big shout.
Yeah, like because I can't tell you how much I think he's got it wrong in the last two games. Villa, I can understand like availability. Gyökeres was coming back. That. This game, he got it so fucking wrong. I can't remember a time I've thought he's got it so wrong in my life. And like that's yeah.
The good thing is though, we got the 3 points.
We did, but he's
really got to, it's we need, Everton is now again, it's a huge game. We'll come to that later in the week, but that's now a huge game. So it's what did you think of? I mean, I just thought, what was your sense in the ground at the end? I'm normally at the end of a game. In most 95% of our games, I'm fairly comfortable with their last 5 minutes. We're going into injury time. On this, I knew it was coming. I knew there was something was going to happen in that last 5 minutes. You could see we just sat back, almost inviting it on, and we possibly thought we've done it many a time, but that's with Gabriel and Saliba and your full, fully fit back four. I just thought they were become more and more brave. It wasn't even it was just a ball across Nkapie got the totally wrong side of the attacker, and bang, in you go. So it was so almost inevitable to me. Is that how you felt in the ground?
I wouldn't say I felt it was inevitable. I was definitely more concerned than I usually am. But again, I don't know the why behind this, but the what in what Arteta said of the defensive habits, like it was fucking disgusting. Like it was so bad in terms of people not closing their man. Like Saka and Odegaard for that cross to come in are both awful, like really bad. And then I think we touched on it earlier, the distances and the way Wolves were able to play through the line, it was awful. And again, I don't know the why. I don't know how much of it is fatigue, red zone, complacency, but it did feel like it was coming, yeah. And I didn't think we were going to go and get the 3 points. So, yeah, you do have to bear that in mind. But I'm concerned. I think there were times earlier in the season where it was like, I like what I'm seeing from this. And how many times did we say there's a level to go up here when everyone comes back? And it doesn't feel like that's around the corner at all. Hopefully, a week's rest, go to Everton. Sounds like they're going to be without a few for next week. But it's just very important now that we keep winning, especially as Man City has bridged this gap to 2 points now. It feels like they're firing on, I wouldn't say all cylinders, but they look like they're in a healthier rhythm than we are right now.
I think that, and they're looking at us and they can see flaws in our game, just like you did when we looked at them maybe 6 games ago, and you wasn't very confident of them. Now they're a different beast. I think since then, because they hadn't clicked, or certainly Foden and the Haaland partnership hadn't clicked. Haaland, yes, but Foden's now
and Cherky
produced,
coming in,
and Cherky there produced. So they're looking at us now and so, I mean, that, as much as that was a dagger to their heart, the last minute win, I think they could see in it, oh, well, they're not as impenetrable as we first thought. But you have to look at that with the defensive injuries that we got, and it's whether we can survive this period to get back Big Gabby in a state, and even a Mosquera, and just survive this next period of. And I think it's almost like, and this is what it goes down to. Before you were blocking out the your XG and your shots on target, and you were snuffing it out, and the defense were doing the job. They were winning games. The defense were winning games, and now we've almost got to say we will be conceding a goal every game. So now it's down to the attack and the attacking options to win, to get us through this period before we get the defense back, because they are the ones that have players returning. They have to make it happen, and whether that's Gyökeres stepping up half a yard quicker, whether that's Eze doing a little bit more, whether that's Martinelli doing a little bit more, Odegaard again, and so these players have to take it upon themselves that it's their turn now to carry this team. And I think Saka is, but I think there's a couple of others in that, starting out of those names that we mentioned, that aren't quite pulling their weight at the moment. Some are, non-Madueke's on form, but we're going to need these guys to get those 2 goals to keep that early goal, because we are a first goal team. I know that's it. We're a first goal team.
I will say on that, I agree with you on everything, but the manager has to pick the right attackers for the right games, because if you're playing Martinelli against a deep block, that is not increasing the probability of scoring a goal early.
And this is what we saw last year. So it was the horseshoe of doom again on Saturday. It was the horseshoe, and that's what we sat through 2 seasons of that, and he sat through that, and now he's got tools in his toolbox to counter that. And you're right, he has to put out the right lineup, the right combination, the right balance, to get the best out of the attacking front 4. Because if he doesn't, we're going to have a lot more days like this. And that lead, we're not going to get away with that too many times.
I think that's the thing, what you say on the defenders. Like my unpopular opinion, Big Gabby shouldn't be a miss in this game. Like I'm seeing, so I understand it, Villa away, right? And like, I'm getting my timeline of games confused here, but we've missed him for a few games now, right? But we fucking beat Bayern Munich without him. Like, I'm if I'm honest, I'm a bit fed up of people relying on this as an excuse, if I'm being completely honest. Like, we are good enough to win football games without him. And I do think he's a big miss, right? I'm not going to, he's top 3 centre-backs in the world? Him and Saliba together, top 2 partnerships in the world. But he's one player. And Wolves at home should not be a game where we're having a conversation around
It's
him.
almost the sort of game where you'd rest him for.
Exactly. And that's my concern. And it's, again, I think it's a domino effect in my head. And like people tell me if you think I'm being too simplistic, but like the domino effect for me is you get the fucking starting 11 right. We're walking away with 3-4-0 here with a goal in the first 12 minutes, not hearing a peep from the Wolves fans for the rest of the game. Like, it's, yeah, and my mate Andrew's in the chat saying Madueke versus the Everton deep block needed. I agree. Like, I will take the inconsistency in end product for the behavior and action to consistently fuck the horseshoe off
and the
relentless
running and relentless trying. Let's go. And then if he can get 2 of those crosses in the box, and Gyökeres is finally fucking a little bit faster, you never know. Let's roll the dice. But I agree, it's a Madueke game, isn't it? It's just keep going at it.
But where I was going with that is like there are games coming up where sure Big Gabby's a miss, but like we were all fucking wanking ourselves silly about this depth, right? Like, come on, he's one player. He's one player that we're talking about here. Like, and I'm sorry, I just again I get it in some games, but we watched us win against Bayern Munich, and my issue is there are other structural things that have come to the surface that are concerning me that are nothing to do with Big Gabby. I believe we are well equipped when we're firing on all cylinders to be able to mask some issues without him for 6 to 8 weeks. I do not believe the issues we're seeing now should be as big and prominent as they are with everyone that we've got available. I've just seen Chris is in the chat. Sorry, Chris, I've not actually read it, so I'm reading it as I'm saying it now. He says, Nkapie is a very capable player to be covering for Gabriel, was part of an insanely consistent Leverkusen side and a defensively solid Ecuador side. Our issue is with the attack. Mate, that's Chris has worded it better than what I was trying to say, and it's kind of alluding to what you're saying, where you almost have to think we're conceding 1 goal. The attack has to sort itself out. And I can't stress how angry I am with the lineup choices. I believe if you get the lineup right for this, you're 2-3-0 up. We're not even having a conversation about our defense. So I'm in agreement with you, Chris. I know not everyone will be. I just can't shake this feeling on how angry I am with the lineup selection. Just don't fucking get it, mate. I really don't understand it. And like, yeah, I'm happy we got the 3 points. I'm more pissed off with the performance than I am happy with the 3 points, if I'm being totally transparent.
It was a strange feeling, wasn't it, on the Saturday night? Because you're celebrating the last minute winner, but you have so many questions about why did we have to get to that point? So it's one. All we can do is hope gets on the pitch this week, gets a bit more 3 or 4 days, I know you do, and I do. I trust this manager that he will do that. There are probably easier tests that you could come up against than Saturday night. Last Saturday before Christmas, 8:00 kickoff, pissed up Scousers all over the gaff. It's going to be a raucous one. So we need to be on it from minute 1. So, and you're right, it is. Let's see. It's all about that starting lineup next Saturday night now, isn't it? So yeah.
We've got a few questions I want to cover before we get out of here. But yeah, and if anyone's in, we'll do a few. Charles, I know you sent a few questions. I'll cover them off. But if anyone's in, make yourself known and whack your questions in. But yeah, on Everton, it is interesting. Like, we'll do the preview later in the week. But I do think a lot of the reasons we used to struggle there was the kind of intimidating Goodison Park, the kind of close to the pitch, the tighter pitch, not enabling you to play your football. But it'll be interesting to see how that translates with the new place where, like, sure, atmosphere will be good, but like from the footballing perspective, the pitch is bigger, so should be able to help us stretch them out a bit more and stuff. But yeah, we did have a lot of questions in, so are you all right to fire through a few of them?
Yeah, mate, yeah.
All right, let's do it. First one up, I remember flagging, was from Charles. He was saying shoehorning Eze and Odegaard in the same team is detrimental. What do you think? Contrary, have you observed when these two play, central progression is non-existent? And what can Victor Gyökeres do in that case? Yeah, that's a good question. I guess can I start with that?
Yeah, go.
So there's 2 ways we can see them in the same team. One is Eze, Odegaard, Rice midfield, or Zubimendi, but like Eze, Odegaard centrally. One is Eze left, Odegaard central. I can only recall seeing Eze, Odegaard centrally against West Ham, where Odegaard went off, and then was it Odegaard that went off for that game? Someone went
Yeah,
off. Yeah.
he was injured. Yeah,
So all we've ever seen than that is Eze's disaster class at Aston Villa on the left, where Odegaard started the game, and I'm sure there's others, but I want to see more of that kind of Eze, Odegaard, Rice in midfield, because I believe that is a midfield so well equipped to deal with certain scenarios. So I don't personally believe I have a big enough sample size to completely dismiss central progression being non-existent from that. When it says on the left, Odegaard middle, I understand there are concerns. Like, I don't think you do that against Aston Villa away, but I still believe Wolves at home is a game where I believe that personally that would work well. And again, it's really trying to, because I've got this visual in my head and I'm really trying to think of like, what are the words to explain it? I foresee it as Odegaard is doing his thing where it annoys some people of like, it's lots of touches, it's popping it around and stuff. But it's all about who's around him when you're doing that. If you've got an Eze near him in the zones when he's doing that, I believe that's the perfect combination, because it's like you're with one hand, you're kind of strangling the team a little bit, and then with the other, you just got a knife and you're fucking stabbing them. And that's what I want to see. Like, trying to keep it PG. Sorry for the attempted murder, but yeah, that's what I want to see. I do want to see them supplementing each other, which I believe would help with central progression. And I guess to Charles's point, like, what can Gyökeres do in that case? You're right. Like, with what we've seen, not much. All he can do is make the runs and continue to get ignored. But it's a feeling that I'm not going to be able to prove until we see it. I do have a strong feeling that in a game like Wolves at home or some other like bottom half teams at home, I would love to see the lineup that started against West Ham. And even if you put Madueke on the left there as well, I'm thinking that the routes to Gyökeres then, with Odegaard contributing to sustaining pressure and supplement and just territorially dominating a team. Eze is like the final third action killer. Madueke on the left, who's constantly trying to take a man on. Saka, who is Saka. The routes to Gyökeres then make me so much more confident than a misprofiled Martinelli in a certain game who won't really add much value. Declan Rice, where we don't really get the most out of him as a left eight in certain games. Zubimendi, where he hasn't got the ability to play the ball or the need or the want to play the ball so much in these certain scenarios. So that's what I want to see on that. But sorry, I feel like I waffled a lot on that.
No, it's plus it. If you do that, then who's marking who? You know, you've got you're stretching that defence, so they can't necessarily sit in that low block. You're moving them all over the place. The rotations and the intelligence of those players. I'd love to see that, and yeah, it's in certain games. Yes, definitely. So, are there any of those kind of games coming up? That's what we got to. It's almost like would you do that against a Brighton at home or someone like that? That's who's coming up that we can do that in.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, none of them come to mind immediately, but like Wolves was definitely one, as was West Ham, and I liked it at the time. So like when they come around, that's where I want to see it. Next question from Chris. Thoughts on this long throw nonsense that we have going on this season? I don't think they suit us at all, and there's probably a higher likelihood Rice pops a shoulder than them amounting to anything.
It's just not a game, is it? None of them. We've not had one successful outcome. I think I did see on X on the weekend someone actually asked that question, and it was, when was the last successful long throw situation that we had? Do you know?
I couldn't tell you.
It was Ben White to Havertz in 2024. And I think it was one of those early ones where Havertz sort of floats in the 6-yard box, but Ben White just sort of took and it was a quick long throw. It wasn't a let everyone get set long throw. It was totally out of a new sort of playbook. So I've got no idea why we're doing that. Is it just because we're going along with everyone else? and there was some analysis on another podcast about that's why Ben White got his injury, because he done
I
the
don't actually remember where it came from.
so it was a long throw.
Oh, really?
It's a long throw from Ben White, which then had to run back. Got didn't wasn't successful. Then had to run back and pulled a hamstring. So it wasn't quite a Rice's shoulder, but it was Blanco's hamstring. So it's I don't know why, because if you could show me facts and figures and said this has worked on this amount of occasions, and I just say, okay, mate, all right, Jover, you're the main man, we're going with it. But there's no evidence at all. So I don't know why we do it.
Nah, me
Please,
either.
please stop.
It feels like a lit. I'm sure there's a shit ton of analysis that goes into it, but it feels like a bit of a lazy. We're doing really fucking well from corners, so let's just launch it in the box for the throw-ins too, and see if we can create similar movements. But I think we are better off playing the ball in, keeping and retaining the ball. Like, we just don't look threatening from them. So I agree. Charles Havertz and Jesus are part of the failed trophyless era and do not scare anyone, to be honest. Clay, what do you say, Mikey?
Well, Havertz won the Champions League. Is that what the question is? Is that they're part of a?
I think it's more around us. Like, so the way I interpret that is we've had a trophyless era and Havertz and Jesus are part of that and they don't scare anyone. I disagree.
Well, I would say that Havertz hasn't played one. He's played probably 20 minutes of football in 2025. So, and Jesus is again, he's probably hasn't played 100 games for Arsenal when he's been here 4 years. Unfortunately, with those guys, they are footballers. Certainly, Havertz, that he's a very divisive player. He's a Marmite player. You either see him and you love him, or you see him and you see all of his flaws. You see all of his sort of perceived clumsy touches, and certainly he hasn't proven himself to be clinical, but he's an Arteta player. If I could put money on, I would actually probably put money on one of those two to score a winning goal in the Champions League final, then Gyökeres or anyone else.
Yeah. Havertz, I do.
Big game players. So I don't think they don't scare anyone. I mean, I'm sure they scare opposition players, possibly not opposition fans.
Yeah, I think defenders would be more concerned with a Jesus than a Gyökeres at the minute. I feel like defenders probably are finding it easy to defend Gyökeres a little bit, whereas Jesus has that unpredictability about him. He almost doesn't know what the next action is going to be. So how do you? And Havertz, I really hope he comes back okay. I am concerned about that. Like, he's missed a lot of football, so I'm not expecting him to come back immediately. But I liked who we were as a team with him as the centre forward. His hold-up play was very underrated, in my opinion. The way he ran the channels, I think his movement's good. He's got more about him than I thought we would get from Gyökeres. Does that make sense? I thought we'd get more from Gyökeres, but the things I was hoping to get from Gyökeres we already have in Havertz, I guess.
Yeah, and that's why you could go back to the original transfer policy of why we never went for Šeško, because he is a very similar player sort of to Havertz, and that's why I could understand the profile of a Gyökeres rather than the actual player has not worked out so far, but the profile of that player, I can see why you would want a different option. Why are you looking at the bench and having the same option? Why are you looking at the bench and to say, right, I can have in this certain game, I can have him, and in that certain game, I can have that game state. I still think there's time for Havertz to really prove his worth at Arsenal. I just want to see him consistently fit and challenging for a place, and I think he will score plenty of goals and be a big part of our season still. And who's to say, if he is a big part of our season still, and does get fit now to the end of the summer season with the World Cup in mind, we can go back to our sales podcast, and he becomes one that you could possibly sell to a Bayern Munich in the summer.
Or, as Andrew's saying, Martinelli scores the winner in the Champions League final, and we still need to move him on.
Yeah, just puts another 20 mil on it. So yeah, I'm not wed to having Martinelli here for the next 4 years. I'm glad that he's doing well in the Champions League, and we do have to mention that because that was a superb goal that he scored. First Arsenal player to score 5 in consecutive games in the Champions League, or since Thierry Henry. I think that was in. Not sure it was Champions League though, but that was. So yeah, he has got a value, and it's good to see him sort of putting a spotlight on him in the Champions League. But yeah, I would be up for selling him in the summer.
I'm sorry, I know I'm going to be a broken record here, yeah, but on the the lineup thing again, to maximize players' value, there's a perception as well, right? If you keep using Martinelli as you have been as a finisher in the Champions League, you're going to get more from him value-wise as a sellable asset than playing him in games that don't suit him, like Wolves at home, where straight away the attention is like, oh, this guy's a bit of a bum. If he continues to play in the games that suit him, we'll be able to get more from him. Like
you're building up a show reel. You're building
Yeah.
up a YouTube comp. Look at him in this. Look at him when you bring him on in this game. Look at him when you bring. Oh no, we'll start him against Wolves and he does fuck all.
I really want to understand that. That's the one that's keeping me up. I can't understand that one. Final couple. Everton missing 4 key players too, so no excuses this weekend. And then we'll finish and leave it on this one. Andrew says, one thing regarding City, their stats aren't great either. They just have a machine up front. Think they'll drop a lot of points away in the big games they have in the second half of the season. So temperature check, where you at on title race, City, all that stuff?
I'm worried about them.
Getting a little shaky.
Yeah, I'm worried about them. It's just natural, isn't it? But I agree with the last comment. I think there will be plenty of opportunities for them to drop points, but we just have to keep doing our job. Just keep doing it. We spoke about we need 12 points in these 4 games. So
what were the 4 again?
So it was the Wolves, Everton, Brighton, and Villa. We need 12 points in them. I probably wouldn't give a shit about the League Cup, that Palace game. Just give you another 2 games in against a City or a Newcastle in January. I think we could do without that. So yeah, it's we're on the road for this little block. We need to make it as once again though. It seems that every game I'm looking going into, all I want is 3 points, a clean sheet, and no injuries. And we got 1 out of the 3 on Saturday. So I will say the same again for this Saturday. I want clean sheet, no injuries, and 3 points. Let's see if that can happen.
Yeah, and this is the thing, the argument of like champions win these games anyway and stuff. I do think you need to be careful because Everton away, if you told me we played like dog shit, but we got the 3 points, I'd be like, do you know what? I'll take it. If you told me and anyone prior to the weekend, you're going to play like shit against Wolves at home to get the 3 points, I know people be like, yeah, take it. But I think that would raise more eyebrows. And so I think there are games when you can accept the kind of, okay, they've not turned up today. What's that about? And then I think there are days where that happens and you get the 3 points, but there are underpinning concerns that could come to bite you in the arse should you not address them. And I've fallen into that camp. So, yeah, I think.
How are you still on the title temperature?
I feel fine. I feel all right.
You're only going to win 3 instead of the quad. Is that your?
Yeah, I think
the treble rather than the quad this season.
I'm basically like, I'm not going to book my flight until it's confirmed. Yeah, it's
fair enough.
Percentage-wise, it's.
But if you're looking at Opta supercomputers, man, we're still like, which is a load of bollocks, I know, but it's still like 70%.
I do like the I don't like the Opta one. I do like there's some of the data analytics guys. I do like looking at their ones because I do think theirs are informed by like consistent team strength data and like the level of attacking and defensive stuff. So like I do like that as a guiding one, but like it showed like I think Scott's one on Canon Stats had us at like 80% a couple weeks ago, and I think we're down to like in the 50s or 60s now. So like it shows it swings quickly, right? I feel okay. We do need to get. I saw a lot of encouraging signs attacking wise from us earlier in the season that dispelled a lot of my anxiety from what I watched in the last year. A lot of it is coming back, and I don't like that. So as long as we go back to putting the right people in the right places for the right opponents, I think we'll be fine. I think we are capable of blowing teams away. For whatever reason, the last two games have given me concerns over the ability to put the right players on the right in the right games at the minute. So I really hope that's something that gets squashed immediately, because if we're having a discussion after Brighton and Villa similar to this, I'm going to be very, very concerned, because then that's a thing of like you've had real evidence here and you've not learned from it. So the one thing I'll say, I think I said this on City last time, I do still, but like Palace had chances against them. Let's not shit ourselves. Like, oh, sorry, we can shit ourselves. Let's not kid ourselves. Like, they are still able to be hurt defensively. My biggest concern is they are a team and a club that over the years have built themselves this aura where teams do mentally give up before they play them, and they've earned that right. Ethically, you can debate how, but that's my fear and concern. I believe that certain teams can still get joy out of them. I don't think a lot of teams believe that themselves. And that's where a little bit of concern comes. And I have a little bit of concern about our own ability to do certain things against certain oppositions based on the personnel deployed at the minute. So got to wait and see. I do think we'll get it right. Same as you, trust the manager a lot, think he'll get it right. We have to have some luck with injuries, because this is. I think I saw a tweet that we're trending towards worse than last year for injuries at the minute, and like last
I
year was
think
like
it's 17 out of 24 players have been injured, something like that. But I just want to touch on the aura point. I think we spoke about it a couple of weeks ago, and that was when 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I was saying Liverpool had lost the aura, City had lost that aura at that point. But it very, very quickly returns for City. And we had built up that aura where we were beating teams before we'd even played them with all the haven't conceded a goal in October, or the shots, not, and all of that stuff. So we would get into that stage where play it, but now it doesn't only needs a couple of results, and then suddenly it's the blueprint. And I don't think there is, but a low block is certainly Arteta's kryptonite. So that's what I'm concerned about. That there's only a certain amount. You're right. There's only a certain amount of teams, and you sort of look at them. And Palace away was one of those potential banana skins, and you look at that and you can say, right, that could have been a drop point here or a drop
Fulham
point
was
here or
one.
there.
I was hoping
Fulham was one, even though they kind of got, nearly was, but there's not too many of those. So we do have to cap them. We can't be having that weekend swing where we drop a point and they win, and then suddenly we're in tailspin, man. And I don't think if we go 3 points behind City, I don't honestly think that we'll grab that back. I think we've got to take this from the front and just be as much as possible. Just try and keep, if it's 1 point, 2 point, just keep ahead of them, because I think if we go behind them, I don't know if we can bring that back, and it will all come down to, though,
who's
the
available.
Etihad. That's final boss for Arteta. I think we're going to have to go there, and we are going to have to win. None of this get a draw, 0-0, sit bollocks. We got to go there and win. So that will be the title decider, I think.
Yeah, possibly. Sorry, final one. Charles Clay, honestly, I'm hearing structural issues since Sunderland. if it's a structural, we cannot use it so loosely and just magically assume it will disappear at Everton. It has to be fit. Well, I think I've given that. Like I just said, I literally think he picked the wrong players for the opposition. I don't know what you don't understand, to be honest. Yeah, that's it. That's it for me. Like, I don't know what more I can say on that. Charles says either old players coming back or new recruitment or coaching staff realization. Again, we saw some good stuff earlier in the season with different personnel being deployed against different opposition. I think it's as simple as that. Just get back to doing that. I really don't think it's rocket science. So I just hope we do. But yeah, I do. There was Andrew said that thing that did I read this out already? The teams and fans are apathetic to City as well, and that's the plain simple truth, regardless of what others say. Like, I agree, man. I don't want to be that guy that is like Arsenal's everyone's cup final, but you do feel like people get a real joy out of coming and trying to stick one on us more than another team. So I agree, but we will leave it there. It's funny, like, well, it's not funny, but 3 points, and I feel pissed off. I feel so disappointed, and I think it's because there are concerns there. Again, I've made my point. I've probably been a broken record and a bit annoying to listen today, but I can't tell you how strongly I believe in how much of our issues are down to picking the wrong players for the opposition at the minute. And that's surprising to me, but hopefully it's a simple fix. But yeah, we'll leave it there. We'll be back later in the week to preview Everton. Yeah, as Andrew said earlier, they're without 4 key players. I think it's like Gay, Grealish, Dewsbury Hall, and someone else at the minute. So fingers crossed we can go there, get 3 points, and start putting together some momentum. Hopefully City drop points somewhere over the next few weeks. But we got a title race on our hands. It's not gonna be any parades in April at this rate. But yeah, we'll leave it there. All good, Uncle Mike?
All good, mate.
Nice one. Thanks, everyone, as always. Yeah, we'll be back later in the week. Up the Arsenal.
Come on, you Reds.